What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to another episode of the Transfer View. Hope you guys are doing good. Happy Tuesday. Day before, first game of pre-season as well. Interesting. Yeah, it is. Day before. We have our first pre-season game tomorrow in Norway. Looking forward to seeing the team and Mason Mount. Going to see how he's going to fit in. We've got a big jam-packed show today. Amrabat interest and Amrabat talks maybe apparently open, according to one report. Other reports saying United are monitoring FC Amrabat closely. 6 more signings. Something in the Express was saying that if Sheikh Jassim comes in, Man United could have 6 extra signings. Surely not. With a 50 million transfer boost if that was to happen. And we're going to talk about how the takeover affects the budget as well. And we're going to talk about the selling of players as well. There's been a few articles around that as well. So lock in, everybody. Asaka says happy Onana Day. I mean, hasn't really been much yet, has there? First day, 1 day down of the new week.
Yeah,
but yeah, not really much yet.
They said, what was it? Late last week, they said, and yesterday, in fairness, they went, was it Tuesday, Wednesday, or was it Wednesday, Thursday? Point being is, I believe Inter Milan, they go back to pre-season on Thursday. So the hope is that it would be done by then, or at the very least, here we go.
He's not there.
Territory
he's not
sort
there.
of. Yeah, exactly. So maybe, let's be honest, what we're waiting for is the moment that they, and it was a bit like with the Mason Mount situation, the moment that they agree a fee, it's done. Because everything else has already been agreed. So that's really what we're waiting for. The moment they agree, it comes out. Man United and Inter Milan have agreed the fee, is the moment we get here we go. And then it's done a few days later. So that's kind of what we're waiting on. And what's funny, actually, considering this is a transfer show, and obviously we're going to talk about Amrabat and 6 more signings and stuff like that, is it comes in waves at Manchester United, doesn't it? Because you get last week, which is all of this news, Mount, Onana, De Gea, all this kind of stuff. And you go, wow, Højlund, stuff's moving quickly. And then 2 days into this week, it simmers down a little bit. And maybe, is this the calm before the storm, Flex? Or is this just a...
it comes in peaks. What do they call it? Peaks and valleys. Chops. Peaks and valleys, that was it. You get this influx of a lot of news, a lot of movement, a lot of goings on. And then, like you said, it goes quiet. Same with the takeover. We had that bit where, Rio says his little bit, it all goes crazy. Stock market's crashing, this, that, and the other. David Hellier interview that we did. And it all just seems so distant ago already. That was then. And again, another Friday goes, no deadline. Another Thursday goes past for KG, no deadline met. Everyone's still just at the table. So it's just going on and on and on and on to the point where we end up forgetting about it for a little bit. Then it comes back. Then we forget about it for a little bit. Then you get angry again. Then you forget about it again. Then you get frustrated again. That's what keeps happening. Re the takeover. But retransfers, Amrabat. There's quite a couple of different reports. One report, which we'll talk about, is saying that talks have opened. Mm-hmm. Talks begin. A lot of other reports are just saying that Manchester United are monitoring Sofa and Amrabat. What's the latest?
So from Florian Plettenberg in Germany, and you could argue, why would he know about what Manchester United is doing? Well, he knows what Manchester United could be doing regarding Sofian Amrabat because Bayern Munich are interested. So that's where the link is. So he is saying that Manchester United are monitoring Sofian Amrabat very closely. At this stage, it's not advanced, but talks have taken place. He understands that it could become a hot topic later in the transfer window, which would make sense considering he would be a signing you would think that we would do once we've got all of these priorities in, i.e. the goalkeeper and the striker. But when it comes to competition, he's also on the list of Bayern Munich, but nothing is concrete at this stage. As you mentioned, also TalkSport was saying the same things, that Manchester United were monitoring Amrabat. He's on Manchester United's radar, not a top target at this stage as they look to type Onana and this number 9, most likely Rasmus Højlund, but it's probably dependent on departures as well, because of course we do know this budget that we're working with is stretched as much as possible this summer, and it's going to be dependent on player sales, which, as we have said several times, does kind of concern me because historically, Flex, we don't really do those big summers where we sell a lot of players. We have those summers where players, a lot of them leave because their contracts expired, like last season. A lot of players left last season, but that's because the majority of them were on freeze. We don't tend to have those summers where we sell a lot of people, but I'm open for change. I'm hoping for change. There's certainly a big pool of players that could be sold this summer. We know Fred probably going to go at this stage. Fulham and concrete Saudi interest. He changes agents. But all of those other ones, we're still kind of waiting, aren't we? But I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. And not that I'm going to flip-flop on the Maguire thing, because I still don't think Maguire's going to go. I still think he's going to go in January. But now that everyone's coming back into pre-season training, I saw Sky said that Maguire was going to hold talks with Ten Hag once he got back to pre-season training about his future. And I then thought to myself, okay, what happened around this time last year? And I went, well, actually, this time last year, once they started to come back, particularly like the Ronaldo situation, that really blew up because once they come back to pre-season training, they have that initial talk of, okay, what am I doing? Am I training throughout the whole summer with you, or where do you see me in terms of your plans? And then if someone says to them, actually, I don't really have that many plans for you this summer, mate, then they go to their agent and say, sort me out a move, let's go. So we could see, in fairness, a lot of sort of departure movement maybe in the next few weeks as we get into pre-season.
Yeah, because you have to get back. Yeah, because like I say, you have to get back and you have to have them conversations. And we will get back to Amrabat in 2 seconds, but actually, like with Maguire, that's that could easily happen. That's probably what's going to happen. I know, to be fair, KG said he's definitely going to leave. I was like, you never know. He could just sit on the wages. But, it would be interesting if Ten Hag does say to him, well, my plan is, you kind of saw what it was last season with you. It's going to be that again, mate. Really. Isn't it? Fifth choice centre-back. If you stay, I can't guarantee you game time. It's as simple as that. I just don't think Ten Hag will lie. He lies in public, in the press conference. He lies then, but I don't think a lot of this will come to the players. I don't think, like I always say, my favourite Ten Hag quote, even though I forget the exact what he said, but about looking the players in the eye with his decision 100%. I'd love to get that quote exactly correct one day, but it just sticks. I'm going to go back to his first. I think it was the one where he was sitting in the white suit. Yeah, I think it was I think it was the in-house one. Yeah. He said, "Look, I've got confidence in my decisions. Any player, 100%." So actually, there's a little bit of homework for you guys. Any of you lot can find it while we're live. Put it in the chat. That would be great because I really want to know that because that's like my favorite quote and I don't even know it properly. But you get my gist. That's how he lives, and look at every decision that Ten Hag's made. With Ronaldo, he wasn't scared to tell Ronaldo, yeah, you ain't playing. And that's what pissed Ronaldo off and made him say, right, I'm stumping my feet and I'm getting out. He wasn't scared to change his mind on David De Gea and say, sorry, like I know I said this, but I've looked at it and the best thing for the team is I get a new number one. He wasn't scared to drop the captain. Of course, you don't come straight in and strip the captaincy off the, you got to feel your way into it. We just got to Thailand. That's not what you do in your first press conference. There's ways of being ruthless, and he picked the perfect way of being ruthless. Started him the first couple of games. We saw what happened, and slowly just edged him out. So, yeah, Ten Hag's not scared. And if Harry Maguire gets that information from him, or that response from him, you're right. He's probably going to go to his agents and say, look, I can't stay here. I hope he would. But on Amrabat, I do think I was saying yesterday on DR, I'm like, for me,
you like him.
Yeah.
You like him a lot.
I proper like him a lot. And I want it to be a lot more of a priority than it's being made out to be. I know we have to get the striker. So that is the priority, like overall. I know that it is. I'm not being silly to that point. And Onana's in the bag. Yeah. We're just putting the final touches to make the deal get accepted, but we're going to get him. But I'm saying for 25 million, I don't think we can afford to pass up on Amrabat. Like some people think we can. He's not that great, or I just think for what we need and what different option that will give us. Imagine like being able to say, right, well, away at Anfield or away at the Etihad, you know what? We'll go Amrabat. We'll go Amrabat. We'll go Amrabat. Casemiro. I don't know. Could put Mount in the 10, Bruno out wide, or Bruno in the 10, Mount out wide. It just real workman like to, but people that are still good on the ball. Totally different to say put McTominay in or put Fred in. Completely different. Amrabat has a lot of good traits that we really could need, and it's more for the market that we're in. We couldn't enter the chat for Declan Rice. Yeah, 105 million. And I said on DR Sports yesterday as well, same thing. People could laugh. That interested to see what you say. There ain't much difference between them two players. there certainly isn't over 70 odd million pounds worth different. One player's 105 million pounds with what Declan Rice gives you. Amrabat for 25 million, you wouldn't look at him and be like, he's way off what Declan Rice can do. I'm telling you now, Owen, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
The spirit of Ricky and Fleck. No, I think it's a weird thing, isn't it, value and transfer fees, because they're relative. They're relative to the clubs that are selling and they're relative to the clubs that are buying. And that's the argument that's always been made with Declan Rice, isn't it? Is that is Declan Rice actually fundamentally over £100 million footballer? No, he's probably not. But what he is worth over £100 million to West Ham, because there's an argument to be made even last season. Last season, people forget because they saw how the season ended with West Ham, with them winning a European trophy, and it was all success. There are periods of time throughout that season they were like, actually, we're dicing with danger in terms of relegation, you know? So when it comes to that, they look at that and go, hey, he's worth 100 million quid to us. Of course he is. So that's what that's all about. Amrabat, he's not worth the same to Fiorentina, is he? And Italian clubs, you know, they don't have a lot of money to play with. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract as well. He's not a, you know, renowned big international, doesn't play in a big international team like England, plays Morocco, did well at the World Cup, by the way. But you can just, you know, it's just the value's different. That's my point.
Brilliant. It's brilliant World Cup.
But I agree with you. Of course, he'd be an excellent addition. He'd be fantastic. I mean, I don't think many of us expected going into this transfer window to like overhaul our midfield, but we kind of would have, really, by Mason Mount. Then Amrabat too. Not bad. Not bad at all.
That just completely, you know, on Ten Hag's kind of overall overhaul, of the midfield. Like that would be it, really, complete. You'd say, you know, you took out Fred, McTominay. Who else would you have taken out? Fred, McTominay, Pogba, even though like he didn't have him, but he went then, like as part of the overhaul. Mata left. Did Matic leave at the same time as Mata? Yeah, he did. But to be fair, Ten Hag weren't in control of that. But
dark days for Ricky, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%. But bringing in Casemiro, Ericsson, Mount, Amrabat, 4. Like that's a complete different midfield, you know? And that would be solid. I'd be very happy with that. Very happy with that, to be honest.
No, I would be. I think just, and I hate to be that sort of stickler when it comes to all of it. It's just, it wasn't the biggest priority, was it? Coming into this summer transfer window, like we still need that goalkeeper and we still need that striker. But we were chatting about this the other day on the phone, yeah. And I don't want to get too carried away with myself because as of today, we've made one signing. So, you know, I don't want to get too carried away. But let's say, hypothetically, our window is Mount, Onana, Højlund, and Amrabat. Yeah. What would your expectation be going into this upcoming season? Because I would argue that actually it should be not super high in terms of we're going to win the league or anything like that. But I think it should be relatively high, as if to say we should get top 4 with that.
Yeah, 100%. No God-given right to get top 4 because it is going to be hard. We know it's going to be hard.
But we competed last season.
Competed last season. I know a couple of teams fell off, but every year a team or a couple of teams fall off or don't have the type of season. Very rarely do you get all top 6 teams functioning, you know, some simultaneously. It doesn't really happen. There's usually a couple of ones in there that just can't get going. I would say top 4 easy. Top 4, you have to be saying top 4 and just leave that there. Not even talk about it. We should be getting top 4. And then look, it's hard with the league, isn't it? Because you really have to build something strong. And then you need an element of, within that season, you need to kind of like have this thing where nobody kind of thought it would happen, but you're there. Apart from maybe Liverpool, because they've proved they can do it. But, you know, if they don't do it, if they don't challenge again this year, then that would have been a couple of years of them not even challenging. So in their rebuild. So, we you know, if you could say Liverpool will be back, they'll fix the midfield, but they're going for a transition. What's that going to look like in midfield? You know, with players that were at the peak of their powers when they were challenging, like Van Dijk, like Salah, even though Salah still puts up great numbers, like Henderson. You know, are these players, can they still find a gear, and can the new players find a gear to match what that old Liverpool team did? But yeah, so it takes something like Arsenal went into last season not thinking anything about the league. And then you kind of do it game by game, or period of the season by period of the season. Remember when they won like the first 5 games and they came to Old Trafford 5-5? Then they lost against us, and then they went on another mini run. Then they lost against someone else. Then they went on another. And then before they know it, they're like, we're going toe-to-toe with City here. Yeah, City haven't kicked into their overdrive yet. But as it stands, we're there. And if it was us, we'd think the same thing. Like, we laugh at Arsenal fans because they're bigger fish to fry in the way they fell off. But let's not get it twisted. If that was... Mate, we were in that week where we had Palace and Arsenal in the same week. We were saying we was in the title race.
Well, this is my point. And again, I think you have to be careful because I don't want to be too
if we'd have got 6 points in that week...
You never know. I don't want to be too hypocritical because I'm also criticizing Arsenal fans for saying, I think for, almost arrogance a little bit, because I think from their point of view, they're like, we finished second last season. We get a couple of extra players. We're going to win the league. And we all know it doesn't work like that. So just because we finished third doesn't necessarily mean we make those 3-4 signings, then we're going to be even better than we were last season. Again, football doesn't work like that. But I do think there will be a bit of an increased expectation on the United team this season. I think there'll be an understanding that obviously it's still not been the most ideal window and preparation because of all of the takeover stuff in the background. And Erik Ten Hag clearly is operating with one arm tied behind his back. But as we said, we were, despite having that terrible away record last season, we were a good team through sort of December into early March. We were playing really good football. We were one of the form teams in the world. Like at that point, wasn't it? It was like across Europe, we got more points than almost anyone during that period of time. Or certainly, not losing games.
It was probably after the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, we sort of started to tail off.
That was when it really started to tail off.
That 7-0 and all that. But the point is, like, there is a good team there. There clearly is a good team there. And if you added to it with, new goalkeeper, and so you're playing out from the back differently, a striker, not saying that Højlund's going to get 20, 25 goals, but just a striker that's available every week, that can score goals, that isn't Wout Weghorst. That's an improvement. And then, like you said, improving the midfield too. There'll be room for optimism.
And improving the players we've already got under Ten Hag. So, Luke Shaw has another season of knowing what's expected of him and what to do. Martinez keeps kicking on. Varane's Varane. You know what you're going to get. Wan-Bissaka / Dalot. There's room for Dalot now to kick on and start for him personally to start saying, I need to stop this Wan-Bissaka thing. Like, he can't keep getting in ahead of me, or it can't keep being a toss-up between me and him and the manager. I need to make it my spot. Technically sound, on the front foot, receiving the ball off Onana, starting attacks. Like, there needs to be a clear difference between him and Wan-Bissaka. In his mind, for the team, it's great. Wan-Bissaka's then hungry, trying to kick on. He wants to make the difference, and he wants to play for a new contract. Let's not get that twisted. Wamby's like, I got a year left. I just see that guy get given 6 years, so I know what the club think of him. I know what the manager really wants to happen in this situation. They're kind of, it's a weird one for Wamby. They're kind of waiting for him to fail, really.
Yeah.
In it. And obviously it's great that he's not. I'm loving the turnaround that he's brought, to the point where we all were saying, most of us were like, there's a big game, cup final tomorrow, mate. Don't care who it is. I'm starting Wan-Bissaka. It got to that point. So
still was at that point.
And as it stands, if there was a game tomorrow, it still is at that point. So, if there's a game against Arsenal tomorrow at the Emirates and it's Martinelli, he's saying, listen,
I was going to say, put it this way.
Ain't going to do nothing.
That first away match is Arsenal, isn't it, at the Emirates? Is that the first away match, or is it Spurs first? Is the other way around? The first two away games are both in North London, aren't they?
Yeah.
So the point being is, for those first two away games, but in particular that Arsenal one, even today, I mean, it could change, of course, in pre-season, but I'm like, Wan-Bissaka should start.
Yeah, because that's the last thing that we had.
Yeah.
Until, though, it gets undone by the manager saying, listen, that was last year. I'm going to keep playing Dalot in these big games because I want him to be the guy, which be interesting to see what types of decisions Ten Hag makes in his second year with the evolution of the team. Because a lot of it last year was to kind of firefight, go with the form players, to kind of sacrifice a little bit on your long-term philosophy.
It was compromise.
Exactly. He had to do it because, one, we needed to get through to Champions League no matter what, and then we started to falter a little bit. And two, he still hasn't implemented. Yeah, exactly. He hasn't implemented the things that he wants to implement because he hasn't got the players he wants to do it with. So you have to do that in the first year, sometimes the first 2 years. I just, off topic, not to be pessimistic, but the fact, you know what it's like, because we had it last year because we lost a couple straight away and it was doom and gloom. But it could be really tough in the first, like, because you've got to go Spurs away, and I don't know whether Spurs, because it's Spurs' second game, so I don't know if that's their first home game as well with Ange Postecoglou.
I can check.
I think it might be. I don't think they played 2 home games in a row, but it's their second game of the season.
Let's have a look.
First home game?
So their first game is away from home against Brentford, which ain't easy either.
That's not easy.
So not only could it be their first home game, will it be their first home game, but it might be a game of like, oh, we didn't start that well against Brentford. You know what I mean? It's going to be challenging.
So
I'm
is tough. And then you go to Arsenal, and again, we don't win at the Emirates in history, like recent history. We don't win there. We don't win there. Yeah, I know. No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
Guys, get round. We don't win here.
Yeah, we don't win there. I'm saying that bit. I'm gonna finish off on the other side of it. I'm just saying. Then you go there, and that could be a tough season. That could be a tough start. But we've seen, one, we look at the start of last season. Do you know what I mean? And we stabilized. And two, like what you say, I was just gonna get to the end and say that I'm actually really excited by that, because it can also go the other way, and it's a good test straight off the bat with this new look. You know, I want to go to Arsenal away with Onana in goal, and you're getting them difficult ones out the way early. You know what I mean? No one remembers what happens on the third game of the season when it's March. No one gives a shit.
No,
really.
no, exactly. No, I agree. And also as well, if you build up to those big away games, I mean, it's horses for different courses and that, but if you build up to that big away game, you've still got the seed in your mind going, I tell you what, last season away from home, we weren't that good. If you beat Spurs away, second game of the season, people are like, what about that away record? Last season, resolved, no problem. And suddenly, you know, you start to, I wasn't ready, Flex. You start to
believe.
Yeah, that's all you need. So I'm looking forward to it. I think sometimes as well, with teams like Arsenal that played obviously excellently last season, they could get caught a bit cold at the start of the season as well.
Yeah, it's sometimes a good time to play teams. Shane says, what are you on about? Can't win at the Emirates. We nearly won last season. We didn't nearly win. We nearly drew. We was hanging on the last. We gassed out, didn't we? We started well.
Yeah, the record there in recent years hasn't been great.
It's not good. It's not good. I'm not lying. But like you said, exactly. If you are going to play teams early, teams aren't in the rhythm, in the groove as well. A lot of freak results happen at the beginning of the season. I'm not saying Man United. Yes, not Man United beating Arsenal was not a freak result, but I'm just saying things happen at the beginning of the season. So it is going to be really exciting, especially once our window or business is done. Hopefully it is by then. Hopefully we're not hanging on. That's what I'm saying. Hanging on. Ain't got this player in. Ain't got that. Oh, lose against Spurs. You know, now knee-jerk reaction going, like what KG says, then they go and do something. I just want it. I don't want that to be the case this year. I really don't.
No, you don't want to be going into that first game of the season being like, so when's Hoyland going to get done then?
Yeah, you know exactly. Let's get to the super chats. Ivor Clipsby is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Big up to you, Ivor. Red Baron says, seeing Mount nonchalantly acting in training videos is funny to me. I bet it's infuriating to Chelsea fans, though. Please, can you test Rory Jennings?
Well, I think it's funny with those Chelsea fans, isn't it? Because for a bunch of people that said they didn't care, he's rubbish, they seem pretty upset, don't they? That one of their own's left. He's rubbish. Good. I'm glad he left. Oh, but I can't believe that video he did. And look at him acting all well in Manchester United training. Blah blah blah. Well, I thought you didn't care. You sound like you care. You sound very. I
saw some girl had a signed shirt of him, and she took it out of the frame and smashed it up on the thing. And like, what? It's just like, what are you doing?
Or whenever they burn, remember, you used to always see that. Particularly, you see it now today, but like remember in like the 90s, whenever we used to have a move, always back of the paper, burnt shirt.
Yeah.
But
what? I hope he scores a flipping hat trick against them and celebrates as well. Honestly, Jaden has gifted not 5 but 10 UV memberships. Big up to you, Jaden, gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, bro. Really, really appreciate that. And welcome to everybody who has been gifted the 10 lucky winners. Big up to Jaden. Edgar Samuel is the next UV member who's just joined. Big up to you, Edgar. Nice to have you as part of the family, bro. Aminor says, Owen, what about Kobe Mainu instead of Amrabat?
Well, look, he's still very young, isn't he? I think that's the thing with him. Obviously, there was a clip on social media yesterday. I don't know if you saw that flex of him in training. He was sort of dancing around Fred, which is impressive. But this is also a player that's had how many senior appearances for United? It's like 1 or 2 or something like that. It's still very, very light. So I don't know if you could really be like, we're not going to get Amrabat because we're going to play Kobbie Mainoo more often. I still think that. I do think Kobbie Mainoo will play more games this season, but we've seen the blueprint of how it works with youngsters under Erik Ten Hag and Alejandro Garnacho. I know he's a bit of a sort of special case anyway, but that's what it takes at Manchester United. You have to literally burst in, don't you? And then when you have that tiny, tiny opportunity, and it might be 15 minutes or 10 minutes at the end of the game, make it count, and then you might get yourself another opportunity in the future. Because that's really what Garnacho did. And he's one that didn't even have a pre-season last pre-season. He went on the tour and he didn't play any games for whatever reason. And then really, it was only around sort of October, November time, he really started to kick in. So it might be a big season for Kobbie Mainoo, certainly, but it's about taking opportunities. But clearly, Ten Hag likes him a lot.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he can kick on and get some more appearances and, have a season like Garnacho, but in centre midfield, coming in off the bench, or a bit harder in central midfield to kind of come off the bench and get yourself into the game. It is a lot of
There's a lot of people ahead of him, isn't there? Unlike Garnacho last season, I mean, yes, you had a lot of sort of Rashford on the left and at point Sancho, and you could argue Elanga, but just very quickly jumped in front.
Yeah. It just changes so quickly. Exactly. Red Brown says, to win the league, you need an element of cheating. You need an element of disgrace and cheating. Lil Yo-Yo says, it's going down. I'm yelling timber. Number 9 needed. And Satchiv says, is there a FIFA stream? There isn't. We are prolonging the inevitable sacking. KG's not available today. I don't think he could face it, to be honest. I think he knows what's coming. He knows what's going to happen. He knows.
You know what it is as well with that is, and I don't know if this is like a decision has been made on this, but in my opinion, if you've been sacked, your career continues. You don't start a new one. So
yeah, of course.
So Flay G would have to go to a different club. Flay G would have to build our relationship up again. Success elsewhere. And the issue is, not only would you not be Manchester United, but also you wouldn't have the Sheikh Jassim money. You wouldn't have Altan's cash in the bank. So that kind of whole big spender mentality that you guys have might go out the window. And I don't know what's going to happen with the directors of football. Maybe they stay at Man United. With these things, we're the one firing you. So I don't know.
We'll be in big trouble.
Yes.
Big trouble if we get sacked, which, to be honest, I don't see how we don't get sacked. If we win the FA Cup, it might ease it, but I don't think it's enough to survive.
You guys really fell apart at the end of that last game. Like, again, I've said this to you privately. I was surprised. Like, how... Because you started the stream. Because you would, look through that season, you were like top 4 comfortable, beating teams every week.
We were up there, yeah.
People were saying you need to go up the level again because it's getting boring because you're winning games. And then I don't know what happened. Once you saw on the screen, like you were in trouble, you just fell apart. You just completely fell apart. Like getting beat by Luton, like comfortably as well. It was a good fleck. It's not good.
I know. We'll probably end up in the Championship somewhere. Try and rebuild. If we can get another Prem job, would be good. Try and rebuild.
You want it if they're not in the game, but you could have taken the Jamaican national team job.
Oh, man, I'd love it. I'd love it.
And the semi-finals of the Gold Cup, aren't they?
Yes, we are. We're gonna do it. We did just beat Guatemala, but still, that's the level. You know what I mean? We got to do our thing.
Man.
Yeah, mate, our front three's actually sick now. Now Damari Gray's come over.
I saw that. Yeah,
it's wicked. We got Damari Gray, Antonio, and Leon Bailey, mate. That's a lot. And there's the new guy, Whisper Richards. He's sick. Chelsea just signed him as well. When I was out there in the Caribbean, like everyone's waxing lyrical about him. He's doing his thing. So, yeah, big up the Reggae Boys, man. We're doing nothing. World Cup qualification for what is it? 36 maybe. Maybe when it goes to Saudi, if it does, Jamaica will be there. Lil Yo, Ruben says, any updates on the takeover? We'll talk a little bit about that in a sec. And Lil Yo-Yo says, Fleck with the reverse judgeology. I see what you're doing. Just saying, mate, just saying. Satchiv says, why not change to Flaywin instead of Flay G in FIFA? Yeah, let's kick him.
I couldn't play with Flex in FIFA. I couldn't play with him.
How do you know?
I wouldn't.
Might be a good team.
No, I wouldn't. I would. If the moment that you got angry the way you get angry at KG, I'd walk out.
Don't talk to me like that.
Yeah. You'd be like, you, what are you doing, you idiot? I go,
oh, yeah,
I'll
real
be
mature.
Going, when are you going to apologize?
Yeah.
Nobody talks to me like that. No one. Wouldn't have it.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk to you like that. It's only because it's KG.
It get
violent. I wouldn't talk to anyone else like that. It's just him. Sanjit says, which preseason game are you most looking forward to? That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I'm going to say Real Madrid. Do you know, I am actually looking forward to the Arsenal game because, you know, get to link up with the guys at AFTV. We're going to do some really fun content and it's preseason. It's quite fun. And I would love it if we beat them. If we beat them in preseason, and then if we lose, you get to say it's preseason, mate. Look, you're getting gas, typical.
Yeah,
getting gas. You ain't even 1-0. Doing all these Arteta songs. You beat us in a preseason game. It's all loaded. We can frame that how we want. But really, the Real Madrid one, because actually, it's a lot of superstars there, and actually to cover the game as press and, you know, be in the mix zones and, you know, see some of their players. Maybe we'll try and get an interview with one of them. Maybe get to speak to Jude Bellingham. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Just for no reason. Like, you know, speak to Vinicius or something. You know what I mean, anything.
Do you think he gets annoyed with people sort of when he's trying to get interviews, people going, "Hey, Jude"? That would annoy me after a while.
Oh, of course. But I just think he's used to it.
Hey, Jude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hey, Jude.
Definitely.
I agree with you. I'm looking forward to
the
Real Madrid one because whenever we have played Real Madrid in pre-seasons in the past, it's always a spectacle, isn't it? I mean, when the last time they played each other in America was that time, didn't they break some kind of record or something like that? I think it was a Guinness World Record or something at the time. And the best thing, the thing that I really loved about that match, I forget when it was. It might have been 2014, something
Which
like
game?
that. I think
the one against Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think it was Van Gaal era. It might be 2014, I think. And the best thing is that in the stadium, there was the majority of it was red. It was red. And then I think it's in Marca, the Spanish publication, next day, they photoshopped it to be white.
Because they just couldn't take with the big club.
To be like, look at all these Real Madrid fans came out or whatever. And it was like, wow.
Yeah, it was in Martial. Yeah, like Shine said, it was more than 100k people watched that match. Martial was balling out. That's the one where, did he skin Carvajal? Was it Carvajal? And when he went in and out, whoever the right back was, he got to the byline.
It was 2014 Van Gaal's first season. We won 3-1. Young scored that game. Yeah. People forget this too, yeah? In Louis Van Gaal's first preseason, we won nearly every game. Remember that? It was like that international cup thing. That it's like friendlies across different. And
the ICC.
We won. And then we lost the first game of the season.
Yeah. And that was that the one where Jesse was breaking into the team and then he got injured in the first game? I remember. I think it was against Swansea, I want to say.
The first game, we lost against Swansea. I remember that.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jesse Lingard got injured, and that he just started breaking out as a youngster, and then he got injured for like the rest of the season. He was
I'm looking forward to Madrid. Obviously, looking forward to Arsenal. I think it's crazy that we've got preseason friendly tomorrow.
I know. I've got to get moving. I've got to get to Norway. What am I doing sitting here? I haven't even planned it. Well, I have planned it. Don't worry, I'll be there. But I need to get to Norway. Pranay says, with Dalot having renewed his contract, do you think we should expect him to play a crucial role for the teams like inverted fullback and support Casemiro? I love Wan-Bissaka. He is our Kyle Walker type of right back. Yeah, I can see why you're saying that. Obviously, Kyle Walker, but I get what you mean in terms of that one attribute that just puts him higher than a lot of players, or that one attribute that just puts him into that category of like, you have to play him in certain games. Same with Kyle Walker, innit? You can put Kyle Walker in any game at any moment against any winger and say, make sure you don't do nothing. And he will, even still now at, what is he, 33, something like that. So it's insane. But do you expect him to do build-up play? Well, if you're going to play right back for Man United with how Ten Hag is wanting to kick this team on, yes. You know, like that's... And we did see Wan-Bissaka, improve in that department. Not to the level that we really want to see it at, but he did improve. But I think they'll just become a natural you know, changing direction. I think Ten Hag will end up changing him. I don't think he gets the new deal. It sounds quite sad, but I don't know. Well, actually, no, because then they're going to free. Oh no. So they might. Yeah, I think he'll get something to activate, maybe. But I don't know. I think Well, it depends on what Dalot does. If Dalot can be the guy that Ten Hag wants him to be, then he might not mind having Wan-Bissaka as that alternative that's completely polar opposite that can do a different job. Which actually I wouldn't mind. But it's whether Dalot can really be the guy, you know, because he's got a big contract now. He needs to be.
But like you say, it says a lot, doesn't it? That particularly towards the end of last season, in the big games, it was a given that Wan-Bissaka started. Like a given. And I know they've just given this big contract to Dalot, but that says a lot, doesn't it? About, as we always say, isn't it? You can talk a big game in press conferences and you can do whatever, but really the truest indication is who gets picked. Who gets put on the team sheet. Yeah. And Wan-Bissaka in those games was getting picked on the team sheet. And even when we won the Carabao Cup, people said, I tell you what, I think the one mistake that Ten Hag made in that game didn't start Wan-Bissaka. So, again, I think that's fascinating. I really, really do.
And he came on at half-time and just shored it up.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's really interesting what's going to happen with him. And and look, if maybe this is the next test for Wan-Bissaka from Ten Hag's point of view, going, look, we're changing even more this season. We're getting Onana in. We're focusing way more on playing out from the back. If you can adapt to this, I like your defensive quality. So I'm just looking. I'm looking for you to adapt a little bit more on the technical side of things. If you can do it, and you have shown last season that you improved a bit, then maybe you do get a new contract. But I think that's going to be a fascinating one.
Yeah, Ruben is the latest member of the United View Members Club. Big up to you. And Sachiv says, in future, I would love to see Vinicius Jr. in the United shirt at Old Trafford. Well, wouldn't we all?
He wouldn't, yeah.
Wouldn't we all? Smash a like on a video. We're just under 300 likes. You guys can do it. I know you can. So please do that. Just over 2.5K watching live. Joe Blackman says, good morning, guys, and big up to the whole community. Just wanted to ask if y'all be recruiting soon. We've got so much going on at United View. We're always evolving. We're always growing. And as soon as we are recruiting for different kind of things, you guys will be, the first to know. So big up to you. Joe Blackman being a member for 3 months as well, supporting the channel. So yes, big up. Right, let's move on. I know, like someone says that 20 minutes, 5 topics. They're kind of all mixed into one because there's like little subplots. So really, we're going to skip through now anyway. 6 more signings. There was an article about Sheikh Jassim and what it could mean if, someone else comes in and takes over the club. Owen, what did it say? Because surely not.
Yeah, so this comes from Alex Took from the Daily Express saying that Manchester United may land 6 more transfers as Erik Ten Hag gets Sheikh Jassim transfer boost. Essentially, because it's a long article, the point was that if Sheikh Jassim came in, that it has been widely reported that actually any new owner, whether it was Sheikh Jassim or whether it was Ineos, could add in around 50 million quid to Manchester United's transfer budget this summer. They would still be limited with FFP implications. Next season and the season after that, they could still actually be really limited. I was reading that piece from The Athletic yesterday saying that at the moment, I think it's like 90% of what's invested or something like that, but it's actually being reduced to like 80 and 70% in the coming years. So it could actually get worse for United. But the point being is they're saying that if a new owner does come in fairly soon, they could add in 50 million quid, add in player sales. Potentially you could have something like 150 million quid to 150 million quid to possibly spend on players. And therefore they calculate that could be around 6 extra players coming in this market, Flex.
Well, this is the thing.
We've nearly spent 100 on 2. So
this is the thing, yeah. If KG was sitting here right now, he'd say, see, I told you, they're going to do something. Why can't they sell those players? And if Altan comes in, that's an extra 50 million just right there. I told you, we're going to do something. And you can never say never.
6.
But that's never going to happen.
6. So we're not going to get summer spending. A summer spending of 7 players as of right now, or technically 8 because Onana's nearly done.
That's what I'm saying. No.
Who are we? Chelsea.
I know, exactly. It's not going to happen. And look, how many times have we spoken to the likes of David Hellier and Mike Keegan about the takeover, about what impact that the Qataris or Sajim, whoever it will be, who takes over the club, what type of impact they can have in that short space of time, especially as the whole damn thing's bloody dragging along anyway, where we don't even know who's going to win. And look, we're about to start preseason now, and we don't know who's going to own us. So we knew this would happen. A lot of us predicting that going into the new season, we're still not going to have new owners. Do you think we have new owners by the 14th of August? When do we kick off? No, exactly. So, and a lot of people don't. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very, very unlikely. It's very unlikely to happen. So, us getting 6 more signings, I can't see it. I think that's a load of rubbish. If it did happen, I would be staggered, because that means we'd have to sell really well, really effectively, and it does mean there would have to be some conclusion to the takeover. And then on top of that, it would need to be freeing up of funds of a little injection of like they're saying of cash of the 50 million just off a new owner coming in. Nah.
That's the key thing for me, is if for this to even work, they're saying, well, obviously money comes in because of the new owners, but also selling players. And as we said earlier on, it's just, I know it could be doom and gloom or you're being negative, but just historically, we just don't do that very well in terms of moving players on for good prices at a fairly quick rate. We've pinpointed those players that it could be. Fred, okay. But then you're looking into other players that as of right now, there aren't really any concrete links with them, going anywhere. Not to say that those moves can't happen, because things can happen at a quick pace. Because look, when it comes to Harry Maguire, as we said earlier on, if he does have that talk with Ten Hag and Ten Hag goes, mate, you're not playing. And oh, by the way, as they was trying to, it was being reported the other day, wasn't it? By not super reliable sources. But oh, by the way, you're not going to be captain anymore. Then all it takes is for Maguire to pick up the phone and go, get me out of here. And then a move can happen fairly quickly. So anything can happen. It's not to say that anything can happen, but anything can't happen rather. But just, you're looking at history, aren't you? You're looking at history and just how United tend to act. And it's just a bit like, I don't know. So yes, this one does seem a little bit far-fetched. But again, that's not to say that we're not going to have a summer that's productive in signing players. I don't think at any point you or I said, "Oh yeah, United aren't going to sign players this summer." We always knew we were going to get people.
Yeah, we're going to get players.
My number is still 3. I could see it being a 4.
You still, yeah. I think it'd be more than 3.
But I could still see it being a 3, maybe 3 before the start of the season.
Yeah, I think we'll get more than 3. I do. I've always thought that. I've always gone with 4. You've always kind of gone with 3 in it. But now you're saying I could see it being more than 3, because the Onana one's kind of in the bag, so that's 2. Højlund they're working on. It's going to be Højlund that we're going to get. Well, it's not advanced like that, but it's probably going to be.
Well, and also with that too, players being offered to go in that direction as well. There's certainly negotiation for a compromise, isn't there? So you go, okay, that one's.
I fancy that to happen. So if we get,
it is going to be 4.
Because what?
They're going to get 2 goalkeepers, aren't they? It's going to be 4.
Oh yeah, exactly. But it's like the second goalkeeper is like.
Hey, Flex, does that make it 5 then? Well,
why? Because we think it's already going to be 4 without getting that new goalkeeper.
I'm saying, obviously Onana, Mount, Højlund, and then they're saying that Suzuki, the Japanese goalkeeper, and I do think we'll get a second goalkeeper, because given what we're losing 2 goalkeepers this summer, aren't we? De Gea's gone, Henderson's going to go. We need 2 goalkeepers anyway. So actually, we're getting 2 goalkeepers.
Well, we kept Tom Heaton, didn't we?
Yeah. So really, that's 4. And then if we do get Amrabat, that's 5. So
yeah.
I revised my prediction.
Yeah. So essentially, it could be 5 players.
Potentially, yes.
What was it last year? 5.
It was it 5 or 6?
Malacia, yes. Casemiro, Eriksen, Anthony, Martinez,
Dubravka. 6.
Dubravka, but he didn't. Yeah. So again, the caveat one is that they don't count that keeper that's never going to play, but it is a signing. But it was 5 genuine thing, and then to our starting team, that was we signed 4 players that started: Anthony, Casemiro, Eriksen, Martinez.
And that's not like Malacia didn't play games, because at the start of
the
season,
Malacia played a lot of games.
He was playing games at the start of the season.
That's actually mad,
Because what's funny about Luke Shaw and how obviously he improved and he had a great season last season, he was in those first couple of games, wasn't he? And it didn't go wow. And it was like, oh, actually. And Malacia came into that Liverpool game.
Yeah, Malacia came straight in, and he played really well.
Yeah.
Let's break this down because I always say, just to finish off. Actually, we'll kind of finish on those topics there. That's the latest. That there was a report in the Express that said that if Sheikh Jassim does come in and buy Manchester United, there could be up to 6 more signings, and we just explained that would also give us a 50 million transfer boost as well, because that by clearing the debt instantly, apparently that means Man United could get 50 million to spend on players, and how the takeover affects the budget in general. We literally covered all of those, so we're just going to kind of move on just to like some generic chat actually. And actually, do you know what would be quite good? Do a bit of a Q&A. If you guys got any questions, put them in the chat. Send in a chat in any form you would like, and we can kind of work through them as well. Just to have a bit of a Q&A session and a bit of therapy, whatever you guys want to talk about. But I wanted to talk about this. So it just came to me. So how I always say about changing the complete team window after window, where you look at it from its original form and you go, wow, bloody hell. When you deep it literally was like I said, signed 6 players, but 4 of them were starters last year. So that changed just under half of a starting 11, really. And then this season already, he's signed 2 starters already. I think Mason Mount's going to start. He's going to. Yeah, he's going to. In Onana and Mount. Mount's going to start a lot of games, let's face it. He's number 7 now. I expect that. If we weren't sure before, giving him number 7 and being that he's going to start a lot of games.
Starts tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it'd be interesting to see how it sets up. Because everyone's fit now. Eriksen's fit, Casemiro's fit. Obviously, McTominay and Fred are still there, but we don't really count them in what he's... When it's Bruno, Casemiro, Mount, Eriksen, if they all play at the same time, that's what the core is going to be unless we get an Amrabat. But what was I going to say? Yeah, so then he's going to add 2 more. Onana's going to obviously start. He's going to be the number 1 keeper. That's like 6. So that's 4, 5. That's 6 starters. It's kind of you take out the Eriksen one for Mount. So that's 5 complete different teams. Half the team.
It's Ten Hag's team. There's no
like it.
Yes, I mean, if he gets, like we're saying, 3 or 4, even 5 players in, and not all of them being starters, but at least 3 or 4, to be honest, being starters, or even players that play quite regularly, that's Ten Hag's team, isn't it? No doubt about it. And I think what is interesting with Onana and Mount is that sort of beginning of sort of build-up play, again, gets sort of strengthened and changed already. And you look at the football that we would have been playing, just over a year ago, sort of the end of sort of Ralph Rangnick's era to what we'd be playing now. Hopefully, my hope is that it looks quite a lot different, because to what we were talking about previously, and I've said this quite a bit regarding De Gea, is I do think there was a lot of compromise of Erik Ten Hag last season. I think that he had hoped that he was going to basically transfer the style of football he was playing at Ajax over to Manchester United, and it would be fairly seamless. Yeah, there would be teething issues, but by the time sort of November, December come around, we'd have been playing Ajax-style football. I think that if you watch United play, particularly in the second half of last season, were we really playing Ajax-style football? I think if you think we were, I don't think you've seen Erik Ten Hag's Ajax.
Because, we were just trying to get through, mate.
You know what I mean? We were just trying to get games.
There were a couple of little moments, like decent attacks where you say, "Oh, we should have scored there." But against West Ham, it's like, "Well, we're in. We should have scored." A couple against Brighton, should have scored. But overall, no.
No, because I mean, you went to see Ajax play at the Johan Cruyff Arena, and I think people, if they go watch some of those clips, particularly those Onana clips of when they were playing, I saw it was a compilation of when they play Liverpool at Anfield during the pandemic, and Onana actually made a mistake in that game. But you just look at Ajax's build-up play in that game, it's ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Absolutely ridiculous. And you go, oh, okay, we weren't playing like that last season. We put a couple of nice moves together, but we weren't playing like that. So I think definitely there was compromise, Matt, because Ten Hag was wise enough and shrewd enough to go, if I'm really stubborn with my tactics, I ain't going to be in a job. come the end of the season, because United won't be successful, because we'll lose games that we lost against Brighton and Brentford, and it'll be embarrassing. I've got to change things. I've got to get the best out of this group and their capabilities, their qualities now, get to the end of the season, and then prove some people wrong, get some back in as much as I can, and keep this sort of cultural revolution going. And I think that's what he's really looking at with Onana and Mount. More technical players, more solid build-up play, more people that are comfortable being press resistant. And he's not there yet. And I don't even know if he'll be there yet by the end of this transfer window. It might even be next summer's transfer window, honestly. But the point being is, I think he's going to be less willing to compromise this time around. Of like, no, actually, this is how I want to play. Okay, I've seen enough of it.
Yeah,
and it can only get so far. He might think like, I tell you what, I can't believe I got third in a trophy and a final playing how I played. You know, that's compromise. But like, you know, to be honest, a bit like Arteta at Arsenal. You see how Arsenal are playing now. That's not how they were playing when he first came in. He was playing free at the back and all this kind of stuff, because he was like, these players are shit. I
remember when they said anytime they changed into the 4, they'd get rinsed. And that's just it. You have to build with the manager. You have to allow them time. And Arteta is a perfect example of that. They ain't done nothing yet with it. Like they think they have, but they haven't. But what they have done, what Arsenal fans can get excited about, is, like you said, that identity, that style of play, that intensity, that rotation, chance creation. Like, you can see it's an Arsenal team now. Like, or you know what an Arsenal team looks like with what that manager wants to do. And that's what we need to get to. And that's what we're going to build up to. Exactly. He's had that first, when Arteta first got there and he won the FA Cup with a bunch of crap players that he didn't really want, but he compromised and made it work. You know what I mean? All them players, most of them players are gone now. Do you know what I mean? Half the players that weren't even in that FA Cup winning side. So that he's won a trophy. Yeah, but that's not his team. The team that he's built is the one that just fell short of the what do you call that? Top 4. Season before last, and the one that fell short of the league last year. So that's his team. And now it's even more his team with what he's going to bring this year. So the expectation goes up. But that's the situation you want to get to. You want to arrive there. Let's be honest. Andy says, let's be honest. Our Glazers staying. We are gassed with stock prices, Reuters, about Qatar. But for the last 4 weeks, dead silence. It's not looking good, brother. That's what we say, Andy. Like, that's what I mean. It's always as you were. So when people say, oh, the domestic journalists are lying, they just don't want it to be Qatar. No, there's just no movement.
They just said, like, there's nothing. Mike Keegan did say, he said, you know, don't shoot the messenger and don't just report him.
Look what Mike see. And then another influx of thing happened since that last interview we done with Mike Keegan. But back when he originally said it, and on the day Rio first said the thing on the train, you know, that literally now shows that Mike Keegan was right. Not obviously in that interview, people saying, I know who I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust all the finance. I'm going to trust Reuters. Yeah. Well, where's the exclusivity thing then? Where is it? It's nothing. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Apart from that, they both are still in the race to buy Man United. No one's been discounted or no one's been chosen. Jaden says, I would like Vlahovic over Højlund if Atalanta are serious about that valuation. Vlahovic is clinical. Just was a part of a Juventus that had a lot of issues. I mean, look, if you are looking at that, because we were talking about that yesterday, I was with Fuad on the show, and he was saying he really rates Vlahovic. He thinks take him out of that mess at Juve, he is a proper Prem-ready, strong, powerful, lethal in front of goal. He really likes him, he was saying. And we do have to take that into account when someone's had a bad time at summer. We're doing it with Mason Mount right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, you can't just write someone off. But I do remember the hype about him when he's at Fiorentina, was banging in goals for fun. And then I think Arsenal just basically made him their player, as they do.
He's covered. He's code flex.
They did that with him. They did that with Isak. You know,
the Arsenal FBI on Twitter they're tracking flights. He's coming here. He's liking this. This is his story. Juventus player.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if you are being, for the price that's been quoted for Højlund, if it is stupid, you probably are better off going for Vlahovic. It's more proven, isn't he?
They've got financial problems.
Yeah, exactly. Carl de Clan says, I have no question, but I just wanted to say we all love all the content. Big up UV. Big up to you. Carl de Clan, thank you for enjoying the shows and enjoying the content. Team Nathan, been a member for 12 months. Love that. A year in. Year in, bro. Big up to you, Team Nathan. Says, big up, my guys. Quick question: what do you think happens with Ahmad? Yeah, what do you think happens with Ahmad, Owen?
I think he goes back out on loan. I don't see. I mean, look, he might play in some of these preseason friendlies. Maybe that would change things because football's all about opportunity and chance and timing. So you never know. But I think he'll probably go back out on loan. Tony Mowbray, I don't think stayed at Sunderland, did he? So I don't think he'd go back there. There were rumours that he might go back to Atalanta as part of the Højlund deal. So I don't know, but I think it looks unlikely. Although I just think about, okay, you got Anthony as an option for the right-hand side. Palestri's going out on loan. Why not have Ahmad fight it with him? Because I think he'd run him quite close. I really do.
Yeah, I would love to see that because I know with Anthony when he was frustrating us last year and making bad decisions on the ball and stuff like that, we were like, oh, yeah, even though Ahmad's in the Championship and he's doing well, like he's good on the ball. I think he'd make good decisions, maybe some better decisions in these transitional moments than Anthony. But obviously, men's football playing week in, week out, high intensity. He's been at Ajax, done it. He's at Man United, and he left a little bit wanting, but he still had some big goals, some big important moments, and did other things where when he wasn't there, we were like, he does get us up the pitch quite a lot. He does work hard. Like, he is physical, Anthony. And does Ahmad have that thrust? Does he have that intensity that Ten Hag's looking for? I know it's not just about running around and passion and desire. I get that. We want skill. We want calm people on the ball. I've said many times, we need technical players on the ball. And technically, Anthony's good. He's got a good touch. He's got good feet, quick feet. Obviously, probably does it a bit too much. You want him to be a little bit more simple. But yeah, I would like to see Ahmad kind of get given that kind of role because that means he would leapfrog over my son, Anthony. And then there's genuine competition for the right-hand side because every time for the right-hand side, when something goes wrong with Anthony, we have to shoehorn someone else in who isn't really that comfortable. Didn't work with Rashid, didn't work with Garnacho. Bruno can do it just because he's a clever player, but you don't want him there. You want him central. Who else played out there? I mean, now we've got Mount. He could play there if you asked him to for a game or two. He could, depending on the game. So yeah, Ahmad I would like to see him do it, but I just feel like he's going to go on loan, Team Nathan. Someone said, actually, let's take this one from Shahil. Actually, question: Sancho or Anthony? Whose ceiling is higher?
First of all, with Jadon Sancho, I hate Twitter. I hate social media because people nowadays they just want to believe what's in front of them. There is no external thought. There is no questioning. There is no let me check if that's true because that's kind of crazy. So a picture of Jadon Sancho, which is really zoomed in, blurry, and it's windy. So his shirt's gone out like this. They've gone, Jadon Sancho's put on a bit of timber, even though in the actual video itself, you see earlier pictures of Sancho where he's not fat, and people go, Jadon Sancho's fat. I can't believe it. Unbelievable. Come on. And people are like, no. And the thing is, it becomes a thing now. It becomes people said to me, I can't believe Sancho's put on weight. He hasn't.
Yeah, people were sending it to me.
Yeah.
And I had to send him the link of the video of training. So it was a Mason Mount clip. I was like, he's not fine. Like not being a sheep. Like, he's
fine. But some Ryan says those were rival fans. The crazy thing, Ryan, is some of them weren't. Some of them were people that just don't like Jadon Sancho that were United fans, which to me is kind of crazy. I've said that actually, I'll tell you what, if an offer came for Jadon Sancho this summer, I'd take it. But I'm not going on Twitter going, he's fat, because he's not. That's a lie. Yeah. It's false. We made it up. As to who has a higher ceiling this summer or this season.
Well, it didn't say this season. It just said who has a higher ceiling.
General.
That must be across, their
well, you could make an argument that maybe Jadon Sancho does because we've seen it. We've seen what he's capable of. And the point was that when we bought him, he was meant to be going even higher than that, wasn't he? And he has regressed. Yeah, so I think there's an argument to say that he can go, his ceiling is higher. Anthony, this season, I think there should be an expectation of more from him this season at United because you get a season, don't you? You get a season to bed in. The transfer fee is what it is. But if we're going to be playing more, as we spoke about before, more of a Ten Hag style, then that's meant to be where Anthony thrives, is it not? So he's got to really contribute this season and not just You know, occasional cut inside, whip it in the net. You know, he's got to do. And also, one of the biggest things when we were talking about Anthony last season, we go, yeah, but he works hard, doesn't he? And if you're doing that, then
you got a good basis.
Well.
I feel like here's my thing. I feel like Sancho could have a naturally higher ceiling than Anthony. Technically, decisions he makes, the calmness that he can have. But I feel like Anthony's mentality would take him further in his career. I've got a feeling. I got a feeling. I hope I hope they both have amazing careers. I want them both to do well. I don't want to choose between one or the other. They're both our players and they're both young guys. And just as young guys, I don't care even if they're rivals. I want young aspiring footballers to do well with their respective teams, no matter who they are, just as a football fan. But I feel like, especially in this period where Sancho is, he's in a hole. He's in a hole. And I feel like his mentality can just about keep his head, just above water, just ticking along. But Anthony's could kick him on further because he just believes more.
He's got a bit more drive.
Yeah, he's got a bit more drive. And you don't want to question people's professionalism and mentality. But I kind of have to in discussing these two players because that's what I see from afar anyway. I can't say that's definitely the case because I don't know them personally. They both obviously put in a hell of a lot of work to be pro ballers and have made it this far. Sancho left his home when he was really young and went to Germany and done a whole new language. And, he showed he's got minerals. You need minerals to do that, especially to leave Pep Guardiola, Man City, to do that in the early stages and say, no, I back myself. And by doing that, made himself one of the hottest properties in European football. Like, that's what Sancho was. Like, of course, he's not as good as Mbappe, nowhere near. Of course, he's not as good as Vinicius, nowhere near. But what I'm saying is in the crop of young players that are doing bits, Sancho's name was always mentioned as one of the top wingers who are up and coming and doing just doing mad things. Straight up, he was. And that's why we all wanted him. So it hasn't worked out. So he has shown that he has got minerals to some extent, but the minerals needed now in this part of his career where he's going for a wobble, we haven't seen it yet to come out the other side. And I think this season will be his last chance at doing that. I think if he doesn't show anything this season, then he could be struggling, man, to stay. Yeah. I really hope he has a turnaround. A proper hope. I really do, because it looks like he's not gonna. But that's what it looked like with Rashi. Again, Rashi's got a bit of bite about him as well, though. He's got that grit, But let's hope that he does it. Let's hope that he does it.
No, I agree. I think we're all caught up with super chats, aren't we, Flex? Let me just double check. We're all caught up with super chats, right? So there you go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. More content coming soon. Pre-season starts tomorrow. We'll be all over it. We're out of here. Peace.